a starship rejected by all, until a human mechanic turned it into the galaxy's mightiest weapon. Broken starships floated like rusted skeletons, their metal bones catching the dim light of distant stars. Among them was one ship that had been rejected by all. It was large, sleek in some places, awkward in others, and completely unfinished. Its name, painted in faded letters along the hull, read Aurora. Aliens of every shape and size had inspected it. Some laughed at the odd angles of its frame. Some shook their heads at the strange engines buried deep within. They called it a failure. Even the registry of the galaxy's starships, a council of the most advanced engineers in known space, had refused it. Not safe, not stable, not worth our time, they said. And so, Aurora was left to float in the scrapyard forgotten. But the galaxy has a way of hiding surprises. Kai was a human, small by comparison to most alien engineers he worked with, but he carried something they did not: curiosity that refused to stop. Unlike the alien engineers, Kai did not care about rules. He did not care about reputation. All he cared about was the spark of potential he could see in machines, and the moment he saw Aurora, he felt it. The ship was quiet. Its metal hull was scratched, dented, and coated with the dust of countless years in orbit. Panels hung loose, wires trailed like vines, and in some areas the hull had been torn open by meteor storms. Yet something about it pulsed beneath the surface, a rhythm almost like a heartbeat. Kai's human instincts told him that this ship was not dead. It was sleeping, waiting. He landed his small shuttle next to Aurora's hull, letting the airlock hiss as it connected. The metallic smell of rust and vacuum filled the cabin, but Kai did not mind. He had smelled worse in the repair bays of trading stations. He stepped onto Aurora's hull and ran his hand along the surface. The metal was cold, almost lifeless, but the design beneath it was extraordinary. Why would they reject this? Kai whispered to himself, scanning the angles of the wings and the asymmetry of the engines. I don't see any reason. He activated his portable scanner, a device he had modified himself. Lights flickered as it analyzed the ship. Data streams of information filled the air like tiny sparks. Hull integrity was poor on the surface, but deep inside Kai found something incredible. A quantum core, a power system unlike any other he had ever seen. It hummed faintly, almost shyly, as if it had been waiting for someone who understood it. Kai crouched and traced the core with his fingers. "You're alive, but no one knew how to see it," he said. A faint glow responded, a soft pulse that matched his own heartbeat. For the next several hours, Kai explored the ship. Every panel told a story of brilliance gone unnoticed. The engines were unusual, designed to bend energy in ways that even advanced alien engineers failed to understand. The AI interface, dormant and silent, contained fragments of code that suggested Aurora could learn and adapt if someone knew how to guide it. Kai's mind raced. This was not just a broken ship. It was a ship that others had feared because they could not understand it. And humans, by nature, thrived in the unknown. By the time the first stars of the next day appeared through the scrapyard's orbit, Kai had made a decision. He would not leave Aurora here to rot. He would fix it. He would bring it to life. But he knew it would not be easy. The ship's systems were unlike any manuals or guides he had. Every panel was a puzzle, every wire a riddle. Aliens had failed because they followed rules, and Aurora was a ship that did not care about rules. Only someone willing to experiment, fail, and try again could awaken it. Kai began with small things. He repaired the airlocks and sealed the hull, carefully patching dents with a mix of human engineering and improvisation. He rewired the engines, bypassing circuits that the previous engineers had considered untouchable. He worked late into the galactic night, sometimes stopping just to sit and listen to the faint hums of Aurora responding to his touch. It was during one of these quiet moments that he realized something extraordinary. Aurora was reacting to him, not just mechanically but almost emotionally. The lights in the control room flickered in patterns that seemed deliberate. The AI interface began displaying messages, simple words at first, then short sentences. It was as if the ship itself was curious about him, learning him as he learned it. "You're not like the others," Kai said, smiling. "You just needed someone who could think differently." The days turned into weeks. Kai worked tirelessly, often forgetting to eat, forgetting the galaxy outside. Word of the abandoned ship reached nearby traders and some came to watch. They were shocked at what he was doing. "You're wasting your time," one of them said. "That ship is broken." "No one can fix it," Kai only smiled. "It's not broken, you just can't see it." Slowly, Aurora began to transform. Panels closed neatly, engines purred like contented animals, and the hull began to shine faintly under Kai's careful attention. The ship was no longer abandoned, it was awakening. But awakening a ship like Aurora came with challenges. Some systems were unpredictable. During a routine test, the quantum core flared unexpectedly, sending sparks across the control room. Kai leapt back, heart racing. "Careful, careful," he muttered. He examined the core and realized that it required not just mechanical repair but understanding. It needed guidance, patience, and intuition, human intuition. Kai spent nights observing the ship's behavior, noting patterns, testing responses. He learned to anticipate Aurora's reactions, and in turn, Aurora began to anticipate him. The relationship was symbiotic, human and machine, teacher and student, growing stronger together. One night, as the distant stars glimmered, Kai finally allowed himself to imagine the impossible. He could make this ship the fastest, smartest, and most powerful vessel in the galaxy, but not through weapons or destruction, through cleverness, speed, and innovation. A ship that could outthink others, protect itself, and perhaps even change the way aliens saw humans. And then came the first real test. Kai climbed into the cockpit and initiated the primary systems. The engines glowed softly, thrumming with potential. Panels flickered, then stabilized. The AI interface blinked a greeting, a wordless acknowledgement that the ship was ready. Kai grinned. "Let's see what you can do." Aurora lifted from the scrapyard, its engines vibrating with newfound energy. At first it wobbled, unsure of balance. But with Kai's adjustments it stabilized, gliding through the orbit like a bird testing its wings. The stars reflected off its polished surfaces, and for a moment the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. For the first time in years, Aurora was alive, fully functional and responding to human creativity. And Kai knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy had rejected this ship, called it worthless. But in the hands of a human mechanic who refused to accept limits, Aurora was awakening to a power no one had imagined. Kai looked at the stars, feeling a mixture of pride and excitement. There would be challenges ahead, certainly. Other civilizations would not believe what he had done. They might try to stop him. But for now, as Aurora floated among the forgotten wrecks, glowing softly, Kai felt the truth of it. Sometimes, the galaxy's greatest treasures are the ones that no one else sees. And he was ready to show the universe exactly what humans could do. Aurora's engines hummed steadily now, a soft vibration that resonated through the cockpit. The ship no longer seemed like a relic of failure. It had personality. It had potential. And Kai could feel it, an unspoken connection that made him smile. "All right," he said, gripping the controls. "Let's see what you're really made of." He had spent weeks repairing panels, rerouting circuits, and fine-tuning systems that no alien engineer had dared touch. Every adjustment was a gamble. A single misstep could fry the quantum core or leave the ship stranded in orbit. But Kai trusted his instincts. Humans had a way of thinking differently, seeing patterns where others saw chaos. The first test flight was simple, on purpose. Kai needed to feel how the ship moved. He powered up the engines and gently lifted Aurora from the scrapyard. The ship wobbled at first, struggling to find balance in the planet's weak gravity. But then, as Kai adjusted the control thrusters, it floated smoothly like a bird stretching its wings. "It's amazing," he whispered. "You're alive." The AI interface blinked in response. Words appeared on the screen. "Ready to learn," Kai grinned. "Good. Because I'm about to teach you everything I know." Over the next several days, Kai tested Aurora's systems in orbit. He pushed the engines beyond their limits, adjusting power flows in ways no alien engineer would dare. Aurora responded beautifully, adapting instantly to his commands. The ship's quantum core seemed to hum with excitement, energy surging smoothly through circuits that had been considered unstable. But Kai was not just testing raw power. He wanted the ship to think, to anticipate, to adapt. Using the AI interface, he fed Aurora problem-solving scenarios, navigating asteroid fields, maintaining stability in fluctuating gravity, even predicting the paths of nearby satellites. Aurora learned fast, adjusting thrusters and shields on its own. For the first time, Kai realized that this was not just a ship, it was a partner. One afternoon, a group of alien traders appeared in the orbit. They had heard rumors about the human working on Aurora and decided to see for themselves. Their ships hovered, sleek and shiny, engines purring with confidence. "You're wasting your time," one of the aliens said, its voice sharp and metallic. Its eyes scanned Aurora's hull, then Kai himself. "That ship will never fly properly. Humans cannot understand engineering like ours." Kai laughed softly. "You don't need to understand it to see it work. Sometimes rules are meant to be broken." The alien snorted and left, but Kai didn't care. He had already seen what Aurora could do, and he knew the truth. Human ingenuity could accomplish what rigid alien thinking could not. Then came the first real challenge. While testing Aurora's maneuvering thrusters near a small asteroid cluster, Kai noticed an incoming field of space debris. The sensors flickered as rocks and dust tumbled toward him. He had seconds to react. Every instinct kicked in. He tilted the ship, adjusting thrusters with precision. Aurora responded instantly, twisting and rolling in ways no alien ship could manage. The debris passed harmlessly by, and for a moment the asteroid field looked like a dance, choreographed by Kai and Aurora together. The AI interface displayed a simple message: adaptation successful, efficiency increased. Kai laughed in relief. "You're learning faster than I thought." Word of Aurora's unusual abilities began to spread. Aliens in nearby sectors whispered about the human who had revived a ship everyone else had abandoned. Some were curious, some were skeptical, and a few were envious. Kai ignored them. His focus remained on improving Aurora. He began experimenting with energy redistribution, connecting circuits that had been left dormant for decades. He discovered that the ship could store energy in ways no alien engineer had imagined, redirecting it to engines, shields, or life support as needed. The next test was ambitious. Kai wanted to push Aurora beyond normal speed. He charted a course out of orbit and into the nearby system's trade lanes, where navigation was tricky due to constant traffic of ships. "Hold on," he said, gripping the controls. "Let's see how fast we can go." Aurora responded immediately. Energy surged through the engines and the ship shot forward, weaving effortlessly between massive freighters and cargo haulers. Lights flashed across the hull as the quantum core pulsed in rhythm with the ship's movements. Kai felt exhilarated. "This is incredible," he said, his voice shaking with excitement. You're perfect." But perfection was not without risk. A sudden flare from the quantum core caused the ship to lurch, spinning slightly out of control. Kai's hands flew over the controls, and he rerouted power to stabilize the engines. Aurora responded instantly, regaining balance with smooth precision. The AI displayed another message: error corrected, learning complete. Kai laughed aloud. "You're not just a ship, you're a genius." By now, other engineers had started observing from afar. Some tried to copy Kai's methods, attempting to reroute Aurora's systems from remote connections. But their programs failed. The ship's learning AI adapted, locking out all unauthorized attempts. No one else could replicate what Kai had done, not because the ship was too advanced, but because it responded to human thinking, not alien rules. One evening, as the two orbited the dying planet in silence, Kai stepped back from the controls. He looked at Aurora and smiled. "We've come a long way, but we're just getting started." He had begun installing upgrades beyond the original design. Shield generators were enhanced, sensors recalibrated, and communication arrays upgraded to detect signals invisible to most alien ships. Every modification made Aurora faster, smarter, and more efficient. But Kai also worked on something else, something subtle. He wanted Aurora to project power without destruction, to become a symbol of what humans could achieve. He designed systems that could block attacks without firing weapons, shields that could redirect energy harmlessly, and engines that could outmaneuver any enemy ship. It was the ultimate nonviolent weapon, a ship that could dominate any situation not through firepower, but through intelligence, speed, and adaptability. Late one night, a massive storm erupted in the nearby atmosphere of the dying planet. Lightning arced across clouds, and magnetic interference rattled satellites. Kai realized this was the perfect test. He guided Aurora into the storm, feeling the ship's hull vibrate with excitement. The quantum core surged, shields flaring brightly, and Aurora glided through the storm like a fish through water. Energy was redistributed seamlessly to maintain balance, and sensors adjusted to detect every fluctuation. By the time they emerged, Aurora had not only survived but thrived. Systems were upgraded automatically from the storm's energy, improving efficiency further. Kai's eyes shone with pride. "You're ready," he whispered. "The galaxy doesn't know it yet, but we're unstoppable." He did not yet know how far they would go. Other civilizations might try to stop him. Some might fear what humans could achieve with such ingenuity. But for now, Kai felt the thrill of discovery, the joy of creation, and the certainty that Aurora was no longer a forgotten ship. It was alive, it was learning, and together, human and ship had unlocked a potential that no one else had imagined. As the planet disappeared behind them, Kai looked at the stars stretching across the void. Aurora pulsed softly, as if acknowledging the endless possibilities ahead. The galaxy had rejected it once, but with human ingenuity, the ship had found a new life, and nothing could ever make it ordinary again. Kai knew this was only the beginning. They had tested the limits of physics, intelligence, and human creativity. Next came something bigger, showing the galaxy that a human and a rejected ship could surpass even the most advanced civilizations without firing a single shot. And Kai was ready. The galaxy had never seen a ship like Aurora. It was sleek, fast, and intelligent, but its true power was not in lasers or missiles. It was in creativity, adaptability, and problem-solving, a form of strength no alien had ever valued before. And humans, Kai realized, excelled at exactly that. Word of Aurora's abilities had spread quietly at first. Traders whispered of the ship that could dodge debris, navigate storms, and survive where others failed. Engineers had tried to replicate Kai's work, but none could. Every attempt failed because the ship responded to human thinking, not alien rules. Kai had prepared for this. He had upgraded Aurora's sensors, shields, and engines beyond even what the aliens thought possible. The ship could detect subtle changes in energy, anticipate obstacles, and adapt instantly. It could block attacks without firing a single shot. It could protect itself and others using intelligence alone. One day, Kai received a distress signal from a nearby planetary system. A research vessel had become trapped in the magnetic turbulence of a dying star. Its engines were failing and the crew was panicking. Most starships could not navigate the turbulence without being destroyed. Kai did not hesitate. Aurora, "Let's go save some lives," he said. The ship pulsed in agreement, lights glowing softly across the hull. As they approached the star system, the turbulence hit like a wall. Magnetic storms danced across space, twisting signals and disrupting normal navigation. Aurora's sensors scanned the chaos, calculating paths too complex for ordinary computers. Kai guided the ship gently, but he let Aurora make most of the decisions. It twisted, spun, and accelerated, avoiding magnetic surges that would have destroyed any other vessel. The research ship, struggling to stabilize, blinked weakly on the scanners. "Hold on," Kai said. "We're coming for you." Aurora extended its adaptive shields around the research vessel, forming a protective energy cocoon. The turbulence bounced harmlessly off, leaving the smaller ship safe. Kai navigated them both through the storm, using Aurora's engines to counteract the gravitational shifts. It was delicate, dangerous work, but the ship handled it flawlessly. When they emerged from the turbulence, the research crew was cheering over comms. We don't know how you did it," one of them exclaimed. "No one could survive that," Kai smiled. "A little human creativity and a very smart ship," he said. News of the rescue traveled fast. Aliens who had once scoffed at Aurora now spoke in hushed tones of the human ship that could dominate situations without firing a weapon. Councils debated, engineers analyzed, but none could explain it. Aurora had become a symbol of human ingenuity, a living proof that creativity could be more powerful than brute force. Kai, however, was not satisfied with fame. He wanted Aurora to do more than rescue ships. He wanted to teach the galaxy a lesson about thinking differently. He began running simulations of worst-case scenarios: asteroid collisions, rogue comets, planetary storms. Aurora learned from each scenario, adapting faster each time. One day, Kai tested something ambitious: a coordinated rescue in a dense asteroid belt, where multiple ships were trapped by a sudden gravitational surge. Alien engineers had refused to attempt such a mission, calling it suicidal. Kai entered the asteroid field with Aurora. The ship twisted and turned, using its adaptive shields to protect the smaller vessels. It created energy paths, guiding the trapped ships safely out of the field. Every maneuver was precise, elegant, and effective. By the time they cleared the last asteroid, alien observers on nearby ships were stunned. It's not a weapon," one said in disbelief. "It's a miracle," Kai laughed quietly. "Not a miracle," he said, "just human thinking." Aurora became more than a ship. It became a deterrent. Civilizations that once relied on fleets and weapons began to notice that this human ship could outmaneuver, outthink, and outlast them without ever firing. Pirates avoided the lanes where Aurora patrolled. Trading convoys requested Kai's presence for protection, and Aurora adapted to every new challenge with ease, learning faster than any alien mind could comprehend. Even hostile fleets learned caution. One group tried to corner Aurora, expecting it to surrender. The ship spun through their formation effortlessly, redirecting their momentum harmlessly, guiding them away from populated systems. No shots were fired. No lives were lost. Yet the lesson was clear: human ingenuity could not be defeated by conventional tactics. Kai realized something important during these missions. Aurora's true strength was not in aggression, but in intelligence and strategy. The galaxy had underestimated humans because they thought power only came from firepower. But humans could think, improvise, and adapt. And when combined with a machine designed to learn, they could achieve the impossible. Kai also began teaching Aurora subtle ethical principles. The ship learned not only to protect, but to prioritize lives over resources, to find solutions without harming others. It became a guardian rather than a weapon, a defender rather than a conqueror. As the months passed, Aurora's fame grew. Systems once wary of human involvement began inviting Kai to help with engineering challenges. He demonstrated the ship's ability to solve complex problems, from stabilizing collapsing stations to rerouting energy grids on failing planets. Every success spread the message. Humans bring something unique to the galaxy, something no alien civilization could replicate. And yet for all the attention, Kai remained humble. He never sought power or recognition. He saw Aurora as a partner, a creation that needed guidance, not admiration. "We're just getting started," he would say quietly, watching the stars reflect off the ship's polished hull. One particularly tense mission highlighted the ship's abilities. A small colony was at risk from a solar flare that could strip the atmosphere and destroy all life. No alien fleet could reach the planet in time. Kai and Aurora calculated a daring solution: redirect the planet's magnetic field using Aurora's energy systems as a stabilizer. The calculations were complex. One error could make the situation worse, but Aurora had learned from every test, every challenge, every mission. Its adaptive systems responded instantly to Kai's guidance. In a breathtaking display of precision, Aurora stabilized the field just long enough to protect the colony. The solar flare passed, leaving the planet untouched. The aliens who observed were astonished. "I don't understand," one engineer admitted. "This human ship, it can do anything." Kai smiled quietly. "It's not magic," he said. "It's human creativity and the willingness to try what others won't." By now, the galaxy was changing. Humans were no longer dismissed as weak or limited. The reputation of one small mechanic had begun to reshape perceptions of an entire species. Aurora had become more than a ship. It was a statement, a lesson, a symbol. Kai and Aurora continued their missions, saving lives, stabilizing systems, and proving that strength could come from intelligence, not violence. And everywhere they went, whispers followed. A human mechanic had taken a ship rejected by all and turned it into the galaxy's greatest weapon, not through destruction, but through creativity, ingenuity, and compassion. Kai watched the stars stretch across the void and felt a sense of pride. He had taken something others saw as worthless and revealed its true potential. Aurora was not just a ship. It was a testament to human resilience, resourcefulness, and vision. And the galaxy was starting to notice. The galaxy had changed. Word of the human mechanic and his extraordinary ship had spread from one star system to the next. Where humans had once been underestimated, dismissed, or ignored, now their ingenuity was recognized and even respected. Kai and Aurora were at the center of this transformation. Together, they had shown that power did not need to come from destruction. It came from intelligence, adaptability, and courage, the very qualities humans excelled at. And Aurora had become more than a ship. It had become a symbol, a living example of what a human could achieve when no one else believed in them. Kai had spent countless hours fine-tuning Aurora, not to make it stronger for battle, but to make it smarter, faster, and more reliable. Every mission had taught both human and ship new lessons. The AI inside Aurora had grown to understand ethics, prioritizing life over destruction, and strategy over brute force. The ship could now detect potential disasters before they happened and act preemptively, protecting planets, convoys, and even entire systems. One morning, Kai received a communication from a distant council of alien civilizations. They requested his presence to discuss matters of interstellar safety. "You'll find them polite but curious," Aurora's AI displayed on the screen. "They have questions." Kai smiled. "Good. Let's show them what humans can do." The council awaited in a massive orbital station orbiting a bright blue star. Representatives from dozens of species filled the chamber, their eyes filled with both skepticism and awe. They had heard of Aurora's feats, the rescues, the asteroid field maneuvers, the protection of vulnerable colonies, but seeing the ship in person was different. Kai stepped forward, modest and calm. "You've heard of Aurora," he said. "But what you may not understand is that its power does not come from weapons. It comes from adaptability and intelligence, from thinking creatively." The aliens exchanged doubtful glances. One of them, a tall figure with metallic scales, spoke. "You claim that a human and a ship can outperform our fleets without fighting. How is this possible?" Kai gestured to Aurora, floating gracefully in the station's bay. "Because sometimes the galaxy's rules are limited. Humans are not bound by those rules. We improvise. We innovate. We see possibilities others cannot." To prove his point, Kai initiated a demonstration. He simulated a scenario. A nearby system was threatened by an unstable asteroid cluster on a collision course with inhabited planets. Alien fleets had refused to intervene, claiming it was too dangerous. Aurora moved effortlessly, its AI analyzing thousands of potential trajectories in seconds. Shields extended, energy fields pulsed, and the ship guided the asteroids safely away from the planets. The Alien Council watched, stunned, as lives were saved without a single weapon fired. "This is incredible," said one of the council members, a species known for building massive warships. "I have never seen such precision, such efficiency." Kai smiled quietly. "It's human ingenuity and a willingness to try what others won't." The council deliberated for hours, then made a surprising decision. They offered Kai positions of honor, opportunities to advise on engineering projects, and access to resources previously denied to humans. But Kai refused. "I'm not interested in control or power," he said firmly. "Aurora belongs to everyone who needs it and to no one who would misuse it. Its purpose is protection, guidance, and innovation, not politics." The council members were silent, some nodding in respect. They understood something important. This human mechanic had not only created the galaxy's most advanced adaptive ship, but he had done so with ethics, humility, and vision. After leaving the station, Kai and Aurora returned to the void between the stars. Missions came steadily, planets threatened by cosmic storms, colonies in need of infrastructure stabilization, convoys at risk from natural hazards. In every case, Aurora responded with speed, intelligence, and precision. On one particularly quiet evening, Kai floated above a serene planet, observing the blue oceans and green continents below. Aurora's lights reflected softly in the cockpit, pulsing like a heartbeat. "You know," Kai said softly, "we started as a ship no one wanted, a human no one believed in, and now we're helping the galaxy." Aurora's AI responded with a simple message. "We are more than the sum of parts. Together we create possibility." Kai smiled. "Exactly." In time, Aurora became a roaming sentinel, moving from system to system, helping those in need, preventing disasters, and inspiring civilizations everywhere. Human mechanics and engineers began to be invited to alien academies, sharing their methods of creative problem-solving. Where humans were once underestimated, they were now sought after for advice and innovation. Pirates and warlords learned caution. Aurora could outmaneuver any fleet, not through destruction, but through intelligence and foresight. Entire civilizations began to reconsider their reliance on brute force, realizing that sometimes brains were stronger than weapons. Yet, despite the fame and recognition, Kai remained humble. He never took credit for Aurora's actions, always insisting that the ship's brilliance was a partnership between human intuition and adaptive design. He trained new human engineers, teaching them that thinking differently and refusing to accept limits could change the galaxy. One day, as Kai prepared to leave a newly stabilized system, he received a message from a young human engineer he had mentored. "Sir, you've shown us what humans are capable of. Will Aurora and you continue to lead the way?" Kai looked at the stars ahead, feeling the familiar hum of Aurora beneath him. "We will continue," he replied. "But our real job is to teach others to think, to create, and to protect. That's the human legacy." Aurora's lights glowed warmly in agreement, and together, they jumped into faster-than-light travel, leaving trails of shimmering energy across the void. The galaxy watched. aliens whispered of the human mechanic, who had taken a ship rejected by all and turned it into the galaxy's greatest guardian. Young humans looked up at the stars with new hope, inspired by the proof that creativity, courage, and perseverance could change the course of the universe. And in that quiet expanse of stars, Kai realized something profound. It was not Aurora alone that was remarkable. It was humanity, the humans who refused to give up, the humans who thought differently, the humans who could take what others discarded and turn it into the galaxy's brightest hope. Kai smiled, placing his hand on Aurora's console. "We did it," he said. "And the galaxy will never forget what humans are capable of." Aurora pulsed gently in response, as if acknowledging the truth. Together they soared on, a human and a ship, proving that intelligence, ingenuity, and heart were the galaxy's greatest weapons. And somewhere among the countless stars, the message spread. A human could take the impossible, the rejected, and the forgotten, and turn it into the mightiest force for good the galaxy had ever seen. Kai looked ahead, toward the endless void of possibilities, and whispered, "This is only the beginning."